What's good, the Royal Australians? The Royal Australian here. Welcome back. Today marks a day that I've literally dreamt of doing for a very long time, and that is to make my own deck profile for a specific deck that I did like to play back in 2004, and that is Cyberdarks. So today's video, this is the 60 Australian dollar or 30 US dollar. Well, technically it's $34.39 because of the card sleeves that I put on this deck. They cost $7, so Australian. So this is the $67 Australian deck, Australian Cyber Dragon deck for you guys to check out. Do leave a comment down below if you like my presentation of this deck. It'd be absolutely awesome. If you guys want to stay tuned for more of my content, please hit the subscribe button and do all those goody things. It really helps a YouTuber out. Today's going to be something interesting, because this is a deck I created myself. I didn't rely on Team Samurai X1, and I certainly did not rely on somebody by the name of Yassine656. Both channels will be linked in the description below if you want to go check out their channels. There is also another guy that is an utter meme. His name is Triff Gaming. I'll also link him down below. This is not competitive. This deck is for fun. It is a fun deck only, and this is done on the legendary Team Samurai X1 God mat. The 3 Sacred Beast map. Big shout outs to Team Samurai X1 for his kind sending. Anyway, let's get started here. Starting off with the monsters real quick, we have 3 copies of Cyber Dragon himself. The Cyber Dragon. There is a really weird combo I want to show you guys while I'm at it to prove how broken Cyber Dragons can be. It's retarded. Next, we have 2 copies of Cyber Dragon Veer. See, if a normal special summon a Cyber Dragon monster except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand. So this serves as a beta, and it becomes a Cyber Dragon while on the field or in the graveyard. Next, we have 3 copies of Cyber Dragon Chimera. This card allows the banishing of materials from the graveyard as fusion materials for the fusion summon of a Cyberdark monster, which is really good. We're not relying on the top effects there. Please pause to read if you'd like to read those. Next, we have 2 copies of Cyberdark Edge, Horn, Keel, and finally 3. Sorry, that's all the level 4s. Sorry, I won't spoil the surprise here. These guys have mandatory effects. They equip each other from the grave to themselves. They gain attack equivalent to that. And plus the monsters themselves are basically pseudo-union monsters. So the equipped monster is destroyed instead, if the card were to be destroyed by battle card effect. 2 Cyberdark Cannon, because this card is busted. It's busted. If this card is sent to the graveyard while equipped to a monster, you can draw 1 card. You can only use each of the following effects of Cyberdark Cannon once per turn. You can discard this card, add 1 machine Cyberdark monster from your deck to your hand. Or during the damage calculation, if a monster equipped with this card battles, you can send 1 monster from your deck to the graveyard. That's a busted card, and I've seen that card in play numerous amounts of times with other people using a Cyberdark deck. Next, we have 2 copies of Cyberdark Claw. It's the same thing. It equips something from the graveyard, I think. Well, if this card is sent to the graveyard while equipped to a monster, you can target 1 Cyberdark monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. You can only use each of the following effects of Cyberdark Claw once per turn. You can discard the card, add 1 Cyberdark spell/trap from your deck to your hand, or during the damage calculation, if a monster equipped with this card battles, you can send one monster from your deck to the graveyard. So it's a deck thinning card, just like Cyberdark Cannon. It's a really broken ass card. I love it. Next we have 3 Cyber Dragon Core. Hurts, but only 2 copies of Cyber Dragon Natchta. Why? Natchta is a brick. You want to play less of them as possible. And for me, I made room for only 2 copies of this card in the deck. Cyberdark Hurts is nowhere near a brick. It is so busted. It is so broken when used as material for a fusion summon. This card's name becomes Cyber Dragon while on the field or in the graveyard. You can only use one of the following effects of Cyber Dragon Hurts once per turn and only once that turn. If this card is special summoned, you can make this card's level become 5 until the end of this turn. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn except machine monsters. We're not going to be utilizing that effect. We're going to be utilizing the second. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add one other Cyber Dragon from your deck to your graveyard to your hand. That's the effect we're going to be mostly using with this card. That is why. And then there's the Cyber Dragon Core, you know, the usual, mandatory. Adds a it adds a Cyber spell / trap or Cyber card from the deck to the hand. It's also treated as Cyber Dragon. Standard issue card that you would play in a Cyber Dragon deck. 2 copies of Cyberdark Realm. Now this card's interesting. It's like the opening of the Spirit Gates, but for Cyberdarks. It allows you to add, essentially, a Cyberdark monster from the deck to the hand when it's activated. And that is from the that is with a different name from the cards in your graveyard. So if you have like a Cyberdark Claw in the graveyard, you can add a Cyberdark Cannon from the deck to the hand when you activate that card. This is not a going first deck, just FYI. I found this card rather useless. Cybernetic Horizon. This card is always treated as a Cyberdark card. Cybernetic Horizon. Okay. Send 2 dragon and or machine Cyber monsters with different attributes to the graveyard. 1 each from your hand and deck, and add 1 dragon or machine Cyber monster from your deck to your hand. And if you do, send 1 machine Cyber Fusion monster from your extra deck to the graveyard. You can only activate 1 Cybernetic Horizon per turn. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck the turn you activate this card, except machine monsters. So basically, it's a deck thinner, but it's a very bad deck thinner. So that's why I only play 1 of them in the deck. It's a bait card for cards such as Cosmic Cyclone. Next, we have 2 copies of Fusion Deployment. Now, Fusion Deployment is also very interesting because it allows you to essentially add a fusion material by revealing a fusion monster from your deck to the field from your hand or deck. See? The Fusion Deployment. It allows you to special summon a fusion material from your hand or deck by revealing a fusion monster in your extra deck. This deck only uses fusion monsters. That's specifically listed on that card. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except fusion monsters the turn you activate this card. You can only activate 1 Fusion Deployment per turn, so that's why we only play 2 copies of that card in the deck. Coming close to the end of my spells here. Mandatory, 3 copies of Machine Dupe. I'll show you a combo with this card and show you how fucking busted it is. Mandatory, by the way. 2 copies of 2 copies of Overload Fusion, banish fusion materials from the graveyard listed on a fusion monster and special summon it from the extra deck. Fusion summon 1 Dark Machine fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing fusion materials listed on it from your field or graveyard. 3 copies of Cyberdark Inferno. Protects your monsters equipped with Cyberdark monsters from card effects, and also they cannot be targeted by card effects. You can target 1 Cyber Dragon monster you control Cyberdark monster you control, return it to your hand, then immediately after this effect resolves, you can normal summon one Cyberdark monster from your hand. Sorry, you can normal summon one Cyberdark monster. You can only use this effect of Cyberdark Inferno once per turn. If this card in its owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can add one Polymerization spell or Fusion spell from your deck to your hand. So basically, it's a searcher for your Overload Fusion, your next cards that I'm about to show you when it comes to the word Fusion. On top of this card, we'll also have 3 Cyber Emergency Standard Issue, Special Summons a Cyber Dragon, a Light Machine type monster, or a Cyber Dragon. That cannot be normal summoned or set from your deck. Sorry, it adds, pardon me, it adds. Or special summons something that cannot be normal summoned or set from the deck. 2, Cyberload Fusion. Fusion summons a fusion monster from the extra deck that lists a Cyber Dragon monster as material. The usual. 2, Cyberdark Impact. Fusion summons a Cyberdark Dragon from the extra deck. 3 copies of Cyber Repair Plant, marking the final 3 spells we play in this deck. If you eventually get 3 Cyber Dragons, maybe you can resolve both of this card's effects, but we're mostly using the rotor effect of this card. Add 1 Light Machine monster from your deck to your hand. For the traps, we have 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Mandatory. You must play 3 of them. I finally have my hands on 3 of these cards. Thanks, Konami. Card's stupid. You can activate it from the hand if you control no cards, or if this card was set previously this turn, you can actually use it on a monster's effect this turn, and subsequently negate every card in the card's column. That's busted. 3 copies of Paleozoic Canadia. Canadia targets a monster that my opponent controls and sets it face down. Discards 1 card. And you can use it to as a monster as well. 3 copies of Call of the Haunted. Mandatory. You must play 3. It's a monster reborn for the deck. 2 copies of Cybernetic Overload and 1 copy of Cybernetic Invasion to mark off the entirety of the deck. You're playing 60 cards in this deck. That's why you always go second with that deck. Cyberdark Invasion, broken. Targets a monster you control. Activate one of the following effects. Target a Cyberdark effect monster you control and equip 1 dragon or machine monster from Equip 1 dragon or machine monster from either graveyard to it as an equipped spell. That gives it 1000 attack. Or send 1 equipped card you control to the graveyard. Send 1 equipped card you control, equipped to a machine monster, to the graveyard and destroy 1 card your opponent controls. You can only use 1 of them per turn. And secondly, the Cybernetic Overflow. Banish cyber monsters with different names from your hand, face up field, and or graveyard, then destroy an equal number of cards your opponent controls. If this card on the field is destroyed by a card effect, you can add 1 cyber spell / trap from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect of Cybernetic Overflow once per turn. That is a Raigeki combined with an Icarus attack, combined with a Harpy's Feather Duster, combined with a Mystical Space Typhoon, and a Twin Twister for the deck. That's how broken Cybernetic Overflow is. Ending off with the fusions for this deck, we have 2 copies of Chimeratech Over Dragon. It's a contact fusion, that one. 2 copies of Cyberdarkness Dragon, 3 copies of the legend itself, Cyber End Dragon, and 2 copies of Cyberdark End Dragon. That looks like one powerful card, isn't it? The End Dragon inflicts piercing damage if it attacks a defense position monster, so battle damage anyway. The Cyberdarkness Dragon can equip a dragon or machine monster from the graveyard to the card, and it gains attack equal to the original attack of the monster equipped by this effect. When your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can send a equipped card you control to the graveyard and negate the activation if you do destroy that card. The Chimera Tech Overlord Dragon. If this card is fusion, summon, send all other cards you control to the graveyard. The original attack and defense of this card becomes each equal to the number of fusion materials used for its summon times 800. This card can attack your opponent's monsters a number of times each battle phase up to the number of fusion materials used for its summon. That's nuts. It's really nuts. Then there's Cyberdark End Dragon itself. Must either be fusion summoned or special summoned by tripping 1 level 10 or lower Cyberdark fusion monster you control, equipped with Cyber End Dragon. Unaffected by your opponent's activated effects, once per turn you can equip 1 monster from either graveyard to this card. This card can attack a number of times each battle phase up to the number of equipped cards to it. So that marks the end of this deck, ladies and gentlemen. Leave a thumbs up, and don't forget to tick that subscribe button, and don't forget to ring that notification bell to be informed when I upload next. It would be absolutely appreciated. I've been the Royal Australian. Thank you very much for watching. Peace out.